Tonight, a raging fire guts 3 buildings in Dennery. Skepticism and concern regarding the no quarantine measure for fully vaccinated people. And the Medical and Dental Association makes its position clear, supporting the rolling back of protocol restrictions for those fully vaccinated.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night, it is Tuesday, the 1st of June, 2021. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. 3 buildings were completely destroyed by fire on Tuesday in the community of Dennery. Fire Service spokesperson Stacey Joseph has the details.
Officers at the Dennery Fire Station responded to a call relating to a structural fire at Church Street in Dennery on Tuesday, 1st June at approximately 7:45 a.m. Emergency personnel found 3 wooden structures fully engulfed in flames and in addition 1 concrete structure with an incipient stage fire. The fire was quickly extinguished to reduce fire spread to neighboring properties. The 3 wooden structures and their contents were fully destroyed. However, only partial damage was reported on the concrete structure. No other properties were reported affected or persons reported injured as it relates to this incident.
That was Fire Service spokesperson Stacey Joseph. The decision by government to allow fully vaccinated travelers to St. Lucia to not quarantine or have a second test done is getting mixed reactions from the public. Social commentator Richard Pittikin is one of them and says that while he has faith in the officials, he questions the level of free rein that visitors will have while the country remains at a critical stage in its COVID-19 fight. Nisha Charles reports.
For those wishing to travel to St. Lucia, the fully vaccinated are in luck. Effective 31st May 2021, fully vaccinated travelers are no longer required to quarantine, but will be subjected to random testing at all ports of entry. While members of the public are happy for the relaxation of some of the measures, there is apprehension about the protocols for the fully vaccinated. Social commentator Richard Pittikin weighed in on the matter and says he has confidence in the officials and how they choose to handle the situation.
One of the things when they change these protocols, it's not just off the cuff, a press a button type of response by the Prime Minister. There is a group of people that sit and they talk through this thing before they make a decision. They refer it to PAHO and WHO, and so it's thought out. Whether it works is still up in the air, but it is thought out. And I think in this case, what they have said is, listen, if somebody in the States or in England is being vaccinated, they have to fill out a travel form before they come here. And they have to give proof in that form of where they got the vaccination, which gives the authorities down here ample time to check that. So hope it will not necessarily therefore allow people to lie and say, yes, I have it, and come in and then go anywhere they want.
He does, however, believe that there are finer details which need to be ironed out.
For example, they said visitors, not just returning residents. So that means that tourists coming to St. Lucia no longer have to be quarantined, no longer have to stay in the hotel. They can now go all around the island. And that has caused some people to raise their eyebrows and say, well, are we taking a chance there?
The Pan American Health Organization, however, has strongly advised against relaxing entry protocols for fully vaccinated persons, since they can still contract and spread the virus. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
The St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association is throwing its support behind the move to allow fully vaccinated people to bypass quarantine. The association's president says while officials should not have to go the route of incentives to get people vaccinated, there is strong evidence to back the adjustment in COVID-19 protocols.
The St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association has been supportive of residents being vaccinated against COVID-19 from inception, as it provided the best solution to minimizing death or severe illness due to COVID-19. So when the government announced on Friday that it was amending COVID-19 protocols to allow fully vaccinated persons to not quarantine, the association was in full support. That support, however, was not without reason.
A fully vaccinated person has minimal risk of actually getting COVID-19 The risk of transmission, although there is not full data on it yet, we know that the risk of transmission is lower because your viral load is lower. If you were to get COVID, the risk of hospitalization is significantly reduced, and the risk of death is practically zero. So those are the facts that we know and that we have in our hands. So there is a difference in the sense between somebody who's fully protected from being vaccinated and somebody who is not. We want to make it very clear as well that we are not sure how long the immunity from vaccines lasts, but it is longer than that which you get from getting COVID. In St. Lucia, we have at least one known case of a reinfection. So the COVID-19 immunity, getting the infection, does not give you permanent immunity, apart from all the potential damage it could cause.
Dr. Clark says that while some members believe there is a need for second testing, several factors need to be considered.
The argument, though, among pathologists is how long will it take to get the test results? The feasibility of retesting absolutely everybody coming in. So that's why it's important that if the fully vaccinated people, again, we know their risk is low of getting COVID. The risk of transmitting is low, although we don't have the final definitive data. But once you continue to adhere to the public health measures, let's just say a vaccinated person gets COVID, but if they're adhering, wearing their mask, washing their hands, and practicing all those sanitary measures that we know can protect us, the risk is really minimal. But an extra layer of protection would certainly be, how should I say, we would have another layer of protection from a further test, say on the day would be determined, and as I said, the pathologists themselves who deal with testing the most are still, and the infectious disease experts are still not in any agreement as to what day you would have to be retested.
St. Lucia remains at a critical stage in managing its COVID-19 cases, having recorded over 180 cases in the last 14 days. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
A St. Lucia national is dead in an apparent double murder-suicide at a Windsor Locks home last week. 3 people were killed at a Lowndes Drive home shortly before 1 a.m. Friday. A 4th individual was found with multiple gunshot wounds and survived. A 5th person was uninjured. On Saturday, the state's chief medical examiner confirmed that Lauren Leslie, St. Lucian Dolores Wisdom, and David Wisdom all died of gunshot wounds. He said Leslie and Dolores Wisdom's deaths were homicide, while David Wisdom died by suicide. Police officers responded to the home in Connecticut after witnesses reported hearing yelling and screaming followed by gunshots. Arriving officers found Lauren Leslie, Dolores Wisdom, and David Wisdom showing no signs of life. Medics pronounced them dead at the scene. You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. Still to come, Guy Joseph defends the government's performance on employment, arguing that the government's pandemic performance outshines that of the former SLP government. The SLP political leader warns supporters of provocation meant to paint the party as violent and therefore delay elections. And can the SLP deliver its 4 main promises? The UWP says no, it can't. That and more after the break.